licencia. Esto puede tener algunas licencias con Hero Factory y también bionique de Lego. Yo nunca me compré eso durante 20 años, así que espero que este video les entretenga demasiado. Esperen un minuto. Ahora sí. Espera, está cargando. 400 likes para poder llegar. Wow. Miércoles este video.
In this video, I'm going to use special LEGO parts to build custom action figures with unique features and characteristics. And by the end, we'll find out which ones are the strongest. Let's get started. Okay, so for some context, during the early 2000s and 2010s, LEGO made several lines of buildable action figures, such as Bionicle, Hero Factory, and even some licensed properties like Marvel and Star Wars. Now these figures weren't built with your typical LEGO bricks. Now instead they would use ball and socket pieces that would snap together, alongside a few LEGO Technic connections as well. I really like how simple and easy it is to quickly whip up your own character with these parts. Usually you'd start with a basic skeleton like this, and then you could add all kinds of pieces to truly make it your own. What color eyes do they have? What about the feet? How about hands? What type of armor? What mask would fit the best? And how about weapons and accessories? It almost feels like you're creating your own avatar in a video game. And when you get new pieces, it's as if you're unlocking new customization options, resulting in a completely different look. Right here, this guy's supposed to be like a wise, magical ice sorcerer.
Reserva tu viaje a otra ciudad. Elige a tu conductor. Y paga menos con viajes compartidos de entre.
Let me introduce you to the Skull Syndicate. Both members are actually custom figures I made back in my early teens, and I managed to keep them together nearly a decade later. They're heavily inspired by the Skull villains from the LEGO Bionicle theme, however their construction is a bit more complex, and they're each meant to embody a specific element. Like this guy, who is the Skull of Poison. He uses this crazy staff that sucks venom out of this LEGO bug, allowing him to impale and poison his enemies in just one move. The Skull of Lava, on the other hand, is more of a brawler, and he uses his large fists and fire claws to dominate his foes. And these two make a pretty good team, seeing as they just rob this guy of all his weapons and new customizations. So in order to stop the Skull Syndicate from unleashing some kind of sinister plot, we need a hero, specifically one from Hero Factory. This was a LEGO theme about robots that were specifically customized and upgraded to take down certain villains. So I say we use these pieces to build our own hero. Starting with the torso, I want our hero to have a short but bulky look to him, and I think this one will help achieve that. But since there's no shoulder or neck joints, I'll have to add them myself using Technic parts. And to add some coverage to this, I'm going to attach some poison and lava resistant armor to his chest, back, and shoulders. On the neck, I'll attach this blue head paired with this large silver helmet, which ironically came from the villain set. Next, for the legs, I'm going to add some dark green, and the same armor piece that we used in the shoulders would probably make for some nice heavy-duty shin guards, right above these massive robotic feet. For the arms, I'm just going to add some more dark green, and I'll equip one with a razor baton, and the other with a precision blaster. And in order to power him up, every hero needs a hero core. But despite all these cool customizations, a 2v1 is still pretty unfair. So to help even the odds just a little bit, you may have noticed that I added some extra connection points to his back while I was building the torso. This way I can equip him with a custom jetpack, where I use these large drill pieces for thrusters, and these black claws as stabilizers. This is your average LEGO minifigure, but he can only move his arms, legs, and head back and forth. So I'm challenging myself to transform him from minifigure to action figure. I'm going to start at the very bottom with his legs, where I use blue shoes and blue armor shells to match his pants, and to make him super flexible, I have this special torso that gives him waist articulation when you turn this knob on his butt. We're going to need lots of red for the upper body, like this torso armor that looks like it has abs, as well as some more armor shells with yellow hands to complete the arms. But to be able to attach them, I'm actually going to try using Technic parts to turn the shoulders into a special mechanism that attaches to his back. Now, when you push this button on the back, he can clap or throw hands. And lastly, I just need to attach his head, which is going to be a bit of a problem seeing as none of the action figure heads, masks, or helmets look anything like a minifigure head. So to find a solution, I would have to be a little more creative. I know I said early on these figures aren't built with typical Lego bricks, but that doesn't mean they're not compatible with them. So using the regular system pieces, I made my own brick-built head with a full head of hair and a socket connector that'll attach to his neck. And for the face, I literally just glued it on. But just as it's become a fair fight, the Skull Syndicate is ready to unleash their plan by expanding their team with the pieces they stole earlier, like using these purple parts to create the Skull of Magic. I want him to be as tall as the Skull of Lava and about as thick as the Skull of Poison, which calls for the largest torso size there is. Now the key to making a proper Skull Syndicate member is to use a combination of similar parts, notably the ribcage, spiky shoulder pads, and bone parts that actually look like bones. Think of these pieces kind of like a team uniform. However, it's also just as important to add some unique pieces to help them stand out in the group, like different colors and shapes of armor, this silver spider skull mask, and for the feet, I'm going to modify these small ones to give him a more agile look. Okay, so far he's looking like a worthy Syndicate member, but there are still a few things we need to take care of, like these really ugly gaps on the side. I'm going to try attaching these spike ball halves to these tendon pieces, then we can kind of angle them like that, and hopefully... Wow, that fits perfectly. Now, a lot of magical characters typically wear some kind of robe, so I'm using some more Technic parts to copy the waist robe design from this Obi-Wan Kenobi set, Lego Please Don't Sue Me. And as a finishing touch, I want to add this cape from this Darth Vader set. Yeah, this cape does not look as good as I thought it would. Not only does it touch the ground, but it just looks really floppy and droopy. Which is when I had the brilliant idea to combine some curved Lego bricks and place them on his back underneath the cape to help prop it up and give it some better shape. And for a weapon, I could just give him this stolen magic staff, but that's a little too predictable, so how about a pair of magical pistols? This guy will make it an easy win for the Skull Syndicate. However, the hero team may have a new ally as well. Don't be too quick to judge because this baby is the pilot of a powerful battle mech. The whole thing is built around the smallest size torso, and it has lots of tough armor and razor sharp blades all throughout. And have you ever seen little kids play fight? Like that? Well, I connected the arms to a special gear mechanism that swings them up and down when you turn this knob on the back. So not only is it piloted by a baby, but it fights like one too. Now, in order to make the seat for the baby to fit inside, I ended up using even more regular Lego system pieces. So at this point, I'm just going to attempt to build the next action figure completely out of system parts. To be fair, the action figures Lego makes nowadays are built with these parts, so it's certainly possible. But will it be on par with these other action figures?
Creators looking for an edge over the competition? Get 50% off and stand out with just a click. No mics, no retakes, just seamless, high-quality audio. So save 50% with 11 Labs and level up your game.
The idea I had for this one is a construction-themed robot. So starting with the feet, I added some yellow parts and these treads that can drive over different terrain. And I guess I'm going out of order on this one because I started working on the body next. I really like how some of these brick-built figures can pivot at their waist, so I made sure to include that feature with mine. And to connect it to the feet, I'll need to build a pair of legs, where I included mechanical details, construction tools, and bendable knees. But he's still missing two more appendages, being his arms. So I've equipped them with armor, and I use these tiny drill bits as fingertips. Lastly, I made the head with system parts too, and call me a genius because I used shovels for his eyebrows. I feel like this robot would normally be pretty peaceful, but since he's going to be joining the heroes in battle, he can use this street lamp that he pulled out of the ground as a staff. Okay, so as far as brick-built action figures go, I think this turned out pretty well. But how does it compare to building the other types of LEGO action figures? On the plus side, there are far more options when it comes to adding specific features and details. But on the downside, they're not nearly as durable, and I find these parts tend to fall off a lot easier. So for the final action figure, the Skull Syndicate will use the rest of these stolen parts to build their last member, the Skull of Frost. I imagine him being like a cousin to the Skull of Lava, So I'm going to use the same mask, but this time in silver. In fact, I think silver paired with white and transparent blue will make for a very frosty color scheme. So on the silver torso, I'll add the rib cage, and if I add these spikes to this armor piece, it kind of looks like icicles hanging off the side. And after spending some time building up his back and shoulders with tendon pieces, I found these really cool ice shards that can attach on his back and would probably go nicely with those spiky shoulder pads. And I'm also going to add some smaller armor plates that go across his chest. I have these really cool crystal armor parts that I want to add to his arms, but this gold color does not fit at all. Okay, he's just about done, but there are a few more things I want to add, like some ice claws on his feet, and a few more spikes throughout. And lastly, these hands look a little weak, so I definitely want to swap those out. In fact, I think I can modify these small white feet to turn them into larger hands capable of wielding this massive ice axe.
¡Batalla final! Gracias por ver.